Court is back in session. We've resumed a little early because we have an executive officer wishing to meet us. Mr. Edgeworth, if you don't mind. Long time no see, Archie. How you been? Hello, Damon. Busy, I'm afraid.
Busy? Really, Archie? You've got to learn to relax.
Sorry, but who are you?
Mr. Wright, I don't think you've met our District Chief of Police.
And you must be Righto. Pleased to meet you, dear boy. Heard only good things about you.
Thanks.
The name's Gant. Damon Gant.
To what do we owe this unexpected pleasure? To my mind, it's been 2 years since you last set foot in the courtroom.
Well, I just thought I'd help out poor old Worthy by bringing you this.
That's my sister's muffler.
It was found in the exhaust pipe of Worthy's car.
Objection! Chief, how could you miss such a vital piece of evidence?
Now wait a minute, Worthy.
I don't want to hear excuses!
I said wait! Or didn't you hear me? You're Director of Investigations, and as the one in charge, it's your mistake. I expect a written apology.
This is unlike you, Mr. Edgeworth. Now let's examine this new evidence.
There you go, Righto.
Interesting. Thank you for bringing this to us, Damon.
Not at all, Archie. We should catch up sometime. You free for lunch?
Not today, I'm afraid. How about the 25th?
25th it is. Take care of yourself, Archie.
Hold it! Judge, I refuse to let him leave until we have an explanation for this sloppiness.
I'm terribly sorry, Damon. Would you mind testifying about the investigation problem and anything you can tell us about the night?
Of course. No problem. The day before yesterday was a bad day for the department. We were in no shape to do an investigation. A detective was killed inside the building evidence room. And if you'll believe me, it happened at 5:15, the exact same time as your murder. But it's not officially linked to this case, so I can't give away any more than that.
And what about the knife?
That knife is very important to the police department. But without a proven connection to Goodman, I can't say why.
I think we can sympathise with your situation. Are you satisfied, Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes, Your Honour.
Actually, Your Honour, I'd like to exercise my right to cross-examine the witness.
Very well, Mr. Wright, but please remember who you're addressing.
Chief Gant, I believe I have your connection right here. This was found with Goodman's body.
6:15, 12:2. Sorry, Righto, my boy, but you've lost me.
That's how you'd think it would be read because of the way Goodman's name's written. But if you turn it upside down, I think you'll see something a little more meaningful.
Aha! 221 SL9.
Exactly, the same number that's on the broken knife's label. A clear connection.
Fair play to you, Righto. I'll spill the beans. That knife was evidence in a previous case. SL9 was its case number.
But that must mean it was taken from the evidence room, yes?
Good show, Righto.
The same evidence room where that detective was killed. There you have it, a link between the cases.
This boy's quite something, wouldn't you say so, Archie?
Oh, thank you, sir. So will you give us information about the victim in the police department?
Just one problem, Worthy. The information hasn't been officially released yet.
Then can you give it to us unofficially?
Sure, why not?
Really?
I'll tell you one thing, and one thing only, but I can't disclose the name of the victim.
Can you tell us his ID number?
I don't see why not. It's 5842189. Is that helpful?
Yeah, very.
Mr. Wright, are you okay?
Yes, Your Honour. I'm just a little thrown by this new information.
For God's sake, Wright, make your point.
I have here the ID card of a police detective with ID number 5842189, and his name is Bruce Goodman.
Wait a minute, Wright. What does this
Mean? That's what I want to know. The numbers are identical, which means the victim who died in the evidence room is the same Bruce Goodman who apparently died in the prosecutor's car park at the exact same time.
But that's impossible. You're saying that the same person died in two places at the same time?
Order! David, what's the meaning of this?
No. What I want to know is why I wasn't informed of this before today.
Now, calm down, Worthy.
The police department have made a grave error.
I said calm down. I'm afraid the grave error is yours, Worthy. We sent you a copy of that report. I believe it was Officer Meekins that took it to you.
What? That idiot? But he said the report had nothing to do with the Sky case.
Worthy, I won't have you shifting blame for your own negligence. The name of the victim is quite clearly written on the report.
But sir, you could have submitted that report as evidence this morning.
No such luck, I'm afraid, Worthy. The report wasn't submitted as evidence before the trial began. And according to the second law of evidence, new evidence must be relevant to the case and trial. So I couldn't submit the report as evidence until the connection was proven, which was just done so by Righto over there.
I was just doing my job, sir.
Well, have you anything to say for yourself?
I apologize for my lack of diligence. Please allow me one more day to sort things out.
You better get results this time.
Poor Mr. Edgeworth.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I'd best be making tracks. Goodbye, all. I'll see you again, Udgy.
Farewell, David. Mr. Edgeworth, I don't believe there's been such an oversight in the history of this court. I hope you will learn from this mistake.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, it seems there are many questions that must be answered before we can continue. I trust that both parties will investigate this. Court is adjourned.
So what's going on, Mr. Wright? I'm a little lost.
Join the club. This just isn't possible.
Well, you've just proved that it was.
I'm beginning to wish I hadn't. I mean, what have we actually gained for it?
At the very least, we've gained time. We should use it to investigate the second murder.
I guess you're right. We should start by paying a visit to the police department. Maybe we can even get a look at the evidence room.
Hope so. I've got a few things that might help us with that.
Like what?
You'll see. I need to go home and get them first. I'll meet you there.
Quite a performance in there, Righto.
Even by my standards, this trial's getting pretty interesting.
Yes, I've heard of your track record, Righto. Tell me, do you swim much?
Not me, sir. Never had the upper body strength.
Neither does Udgy, but he's got natural buoyancy.
You just call the judge fat.
Udgy would be the first to admit it.
Well, maybe not in open court.
Probably not.
By the way, sir, what's going to happen to Edgeworth?
Worthy's been careless. It happens to the best of us. Committee will give him a slap on the wrist and he'll be back in form in no time.
I hope so. He's had a rough time of it lately.
I'm surprised to see you being so sympathetic, Righto. You're opposing counsel after all.
It's not like that. Me and Edgeworth need each other in the courtroom. By each pushing the other to the limit, we both become better attorneys.
An interesting point of view. Anyway, I can't stand here all day. I've got work to do. Fancy a lift to the police department? I assume that's where your investigation's taking you.
Oh, thank you, sir.